Literary criticism. Literary ethical criticism. Shakespeare drama reflects करछि life जीवन. The objective of all criticism according to Johnson is to make the obscure and the confused. Object of all criticism, सब criticism according to Johnson is to make obscure and the confused. Confuse अब object of all criticism clear understood पूरा बुझी हो संपूर्ण स्पष्ट. Johnson tries Shakespeare by the test of Johnson try color Shakespeare by the test of Shakespeare test of time, nature and universality. समय प्रकृति and universality विश्व. Shakespeare's characters portray humanity मानवता. Characters portray करछि देखौछि. With the father of English poetry, the well of English undefiled according to Arnold. Father of English poetry होछि the well of English undefiled. The Chaucer. English poetry father होछि Chaucer, the well of English undefiled. Samuel Johnson defended Shakespeare's use of होछि tragic comedy. Samuel Johnson defend कला Shakespeare's दुखद comedy. The defect or a fault in Shakespeare's according to Johnson is that defect of fault in Shakespeare according to Johnson होछि he sacrificed virtue to convenience. Sacrifice कला virtue to convenience. जोगाजोग करे convenience. Johnson said that Shakespeare showed no देखिला Shakespeare showed no regard to the unit of time and place. समय एवं जगार location unity. According to Johnson, what type of drama Shakespeare write लेखन्ति with much labor. Tragedy लेखन Shakespeare. Samuel Johnson was a writer of 18th century. 1800. Johnson said that Shakespeare often surpassed expectation. माने आशा को सरपास करती और डिजायर इच्छा होए नहीं रोजी लिखती कमेंट लिखन देते बड़े सरपास करती एक्सपेक्टेशन और इच्छा. सैमुअल जॉनसन प्रीफेस टू शेक्सपियर वाज पब्लिश. शेक्सपियर पब्लिश होता 1765. जॉनसन लिखती जो शेक्सपियर लिखती मच लेबर श्रम ट्रेजेडी. इन प्रीफेस टू शेक्सपियर जॉनसन डिफेंड करती शेक्सपियर यूज ऑफ ट्रेजिक कॉमेडी को डिफेंड करती सुरक्षा दिखाती. शेक्सपियर वाज द मैन हु ऑफ ऑल मॉडर्न समस्त मॉडर्न शेक्सपियर सब मॉडर्न एंड परहैप्स एंशिएंट पॉइंट को had largest and bord and comprehensive soul, comprehensive atma was said. Comprehensive atma was said कहती John Dryden. Johnson is of the opinion that Shakespeare write लेखन without moral purpose, नैतिक purpose उद्देश्य बिना, and is more careful to please than to instruct कहती instruct. Moral purpose and is more careful. Johnson praises Shakespeare को पसंद करती and comment करती that his drama is the mirror of drama टा उस life mirror of life mirror. The two mode of imitation according to Dr. Johnson are two mode of imitation माने नकली करिया जो tragedy and comedy. Johnson praises Shakespeare and comments his drama mirror of life जीवन रो. Johnson of the opinion that Shakespeare लेखन without moral purpose उद्देश्य is more careful to instruct सूचना दियंती instruct insist करते Shakespeare mode of composition होची which remained the same समान mode of composition. Shakespeare first defect according to Johnson was the Shakespeare first defect होची according to Johnson sacrifice virtue to convenience. भर्च्यू को सैक्रिफाइस करते टू कन्वीनियंस virtue. In the violation of a unit is Johnson. Defend करिए शेक्सपियर को. Violation of a unit is. According to Johnson, the play of Shakespeare play होची were originally classified into comedy, tragedy and histories. Comedy, tragedy, दुख और history. of unit is Johnson होची defend Shakespeare. According to Johnson, Shakespeare presented करंती nature faithfully विश्वास सहित. When we read the Shakespearean play, we are not bothered by consideration of रड़ी करवानी time and place समय और जगह नहीं करी. Which of the following critics preferred Shakespeare comedies to his tragedies? प्रिफर करती शेक्सपियर कॉमेडी जॉनसन पसंद करती. रिगार्डिंग द ऑब्जर्वेंस ऑफ द थ्री यूनिटीज इन प्ले ऑफ जॉनसन व्यू इज दैट रिगार्डिंग द ऑब्जर्वेंस ऑफ थ्री यूनिट ओनली द यूनिट ऑफ एक्शन शुड बी ऑब्जर्व. ओनली द यूनिट ऑफ एक्शन को ऑब्जर्व करी हबो. डायलॉग शेक्सपियर डायलॉग होची आर समटाइम्स स्पॉइल्ड बाय रॉगनेस. स्पॉइल्ड हो जाए डायलॉगटा शेक्सपियर कथोकथन रॉगनेस. पोएटिक जस्टिस होची ये नॉट ऑलवेज फॉलोड बाय शेक्सपियर. सब शेक्सपियर द्वारा फॉलो करी हबनी. Shakespeare has no heroes. His scenes are occupied by men. ताकर सीन टा मुख्यतः men के द्वारा अधिकार हुए. Shakespeare approximate the remote and familiarize the. Shakespeare approximately remote and familiarize the wonderful आश्चर्य. Shakespeare drama is mirror of life तांका तो मुख्य. Dennis Rhymer think Shakespeare romance are not sufficiently. Shakespeare's romance टा sufficient नुह. रोमान कहते sufficient romance नुह. A quibble is to Shakespeare. What luminous vapors? Vapor to quibble. There is travelers. Shakespeare had no regard to the unities of. Shakespeare had no regard नहीं unities of time and action समय और क्रिया. Shakespeare had no regard for Johnson in Shakespeare's works even when the agency is supernatural. The dialogue is labeled with Johnson Shakespeare's works agency is supernatural which is life. This therefore is the praise of Shakespeare. That is drama is the mirror. His drama. Therefore, praise of Shakespeare that his drama is the mirror of life. जीवनर mirror. Shakespeare has united the powers of exciting laughter, harsha and sorrow not only in one mind, but in one narration. Shakespeare has united the power of exciting laughter, harsha and sorrow not only in one mind, narration. वर्णना. The end of writing is to instruct. The end of poetry is to instruct by. End of writing होची pleasing. Thing is to instruct. End of poetry होची to instruct by pleasing आनंद हवा. An action होची end. An action. The end happily to the principal person is a person होची comedy. Happily ended of happily the comedy कहती person is a comedy. Tragedy was not in those times a poem of more general dignity, साधारण सम्मान और elevation than. Tragedy होची drama, more general dignity और elevation than drama. Johnson अनुजाई authors are rated by their best when they are old age. Rated on the best. For Wordsworth, the function of poetry is give. Poetry function of pleasure, ananda. To Wordsworth, poetry is a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. Overflow हुए powerful feelings द्वारा emotion and recollected in. Wordsworth, poetry is a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. Tranquility. Tranquility अर्थ होची tranquility शांत करिया. Overflow of powerful feelings. Tranquility. Shanti. Wordsworth poetry is a man speaking to everyone. Man. Poetry is a man speaking to man. Wordsworth poem. The function of poetry is both to instruct and delight ananda. But for Wordsworth, it is to give pleasure ananda. Function of poetry is both to instruct and delightful. But for Wordsworth is to give pleasure ananda. Function of poetry. The dominant theme of Wordsworth's preface is poetic diction. The dominant theme of Wordsworth's preface is poetic diction. Dominant theme. Poetic diction. The dominant theme of Wordsworth's preface. Wordsworth's preface declares the dawn